I told myself I was in control until he proved me wrong. I chose the shade on purpose, not romantic red, but courtroom red, the kind that stains evidence. I pressed it to my mouth, then to a glass, then to a man who wasn't my husband, just long enough to leave a question mark on his lips. I didn't do it for thrill. I did it for balance. Nate had turned our marriage into an audit. Receipts, alibis, late meetings with perfume that wasn't mine. My revenge had rules. No lies he didn't deserve, no harm no one could recover from. It sounded noble. Maybe that was my first lie. The plan was simple. A kiss where Nate would see. A message he couldn't ignore. Leverage to force the truth I couldn't pry from him. One calculated blot of red, one borrowed heartbeat. I believed I could step back after. Wipe it away with makeup remover and logic. His name was Leo. He was a clean cut in a messy world. Polished shoes, careful hands, a voice that smoothed the air. We met by accident at the hotel bar below Nate's firm. I told myself it was coincidence. It wasn't. I'd memorized his scheduled days earlier. My pulse quickened anyway. Your husband upstairs? Leo asked, more observation than question. He had eyes like locked drawers. I smiled as if I kept no keys. Our closeness deepened only in talk. How marriages harden like glass, how power slides across a table until someone grabs it. I touched his collar. The mirror caught it. So did the camera near the elevator. I kissed him the way a verdict is read. Crisp, final, with consequences already drafted. The lipstick left a neat half-moon on his mouth. He looked stunned and then amused. Careful, he said softly. Marks travel. That was the point. I wanted the mark to travel to Nate's phone, to his pride, to the part of him that thought he could hide in clean shirts and late-night strategy. I wanted him to taste the truth the way I'd swallowed doubt. I sent Nate a photo, my glass with a smear, the bar's neon behind it, no faces, just implication. After hours, I typed, "Your turn to confess." I thought he'd rage or rush down or call. He did something worse. He replied with a single dot. Then nothing. Silence is not neutral. It is a choice with teeth. Leo watched me watch my phone. "You okay?" he asked. I wanted to say yes. I nodded instead, an adult woman in a schoolgirl's dare. The room seemed to tilt, as if a larger hand had nudged the table. When I finally stood, Leo stood with me. "Walk you out," he offered. I should have said no. I should have let the mark cool. But the elevator doors opened like a throat about to swallow words, and I stepped in. 2 floors down, the door slid apart again. Nate was inside. He didn't look angry. He looked prepared. And somewhere between us, the red on Leo's mouth brightened like a warning light. The doors closed. My control did too. His voice alone was enough to ruin my carefully built life. "Nora," Nate said, like a man greeting a client he'd already won. He acknowledged Leo with a nod that held no surprise. My stomach dropped the way truth does when it recognizes a trap it thought it set. "I'm late," I managed. Leo shifted, clearing his throat, lowering his gaze as if modesty could erase lipstick. Nate pressed the stop button. The car hummed. My phone buzzed. 3 new messages from an unknown number. Each held a grainy still of the bar camera. My crimson signature bloomed in every frame. "You sent me evidence," Nate said calmly, and I brought the rest. He glanced at Leo. "Thanks for your cooperation." The floor lurched an inch. My confidence fell a mile. Cooperation? Leo's hands opened empty. "He approached me last week," he said, not quite meeting my eyes. He had photos of me leaving a hotel with a client. Nothing happened, but it looked bad. He said you were testing him. His voice dimmed. Testing you. So my lover for hire wasn't an accident. He was a mirror. I touched my mouth, half expecting to smear red on my fingers. All I found was heat. You could have asked me, I told Nate. It sounded naive even to me. I did, he said. You laughed. You said I was paranoid. You said perfume travels. The elevator's camera stared like a patient clerk. He lifted his phone. A mute video played, my hand on Leo's collar, my careful kiss, my precision sin. I searched for fury and found something worse. The memory of the first lie between us, small as a receipt, easy to lose. I had called it self-defense. Maybe it was offense disguised as grace. My pulse quickened. What do you want, Nate? I asked. An apology? A scoreboard? He studied me with that lawyer's gaze that adds up answers before questions end. I want the truth, he said. About me. About you. About why a woman like you chooses a mark instead of a conversation. He flicked the switch. The elevator sighed back to life. Come upstairs. Or walk away now. Either choice is a confession. The doors opened to the lobby first. Leo stepped out, relief like sweat. He hesitated. I'm sorry, he told me. It was honest. It was also useless. He vanished into the hotel's noise. I stayed, not for Nate, yet, but for the version of myself that could still steer. Up, I said. He extended a hand to the panel, not to me. Professional distance, marital theater. On the 22nd floor, the firm's corridor smelled of paper and cold coffee. We entered his office. On the desk, a neat folder labeled leverage. Inside, screenshots, timelines, a note in my own handwriting, perfume travels. He'd clipped it from our grocery list. You keep trophies now. I asked. I meant to sound sharp. I sounded tired. I keep context, he answered, because you've been rewriting it. He stepped closer, not touching. Our closeness deepened without contact, the way storms do before the first drop. Tell me why, he said, or I proceed. Proceed how? I asked. He clicked his laptop. A draft email opened, subject line, to our families. My red mark had found its way to every place I couldn't control. The secret I carried could destroy us both, but I couldn't stop. The email's body was clean, surgical, a confession of mutual failures, a request for space, a careful absence of blame that screamed guilt anyway. Attached were the photos. The red was now a headline. Don't, I said. The word tasted like pride swallowed whole. Nate's jaw worked once, a silent debate with himself. I had lived beside that jawline for 15 years. I knew when he wanted to be merciful and when he wanted to be right. You think I enjoy this? He asked. You think I want an audience? He closed the laptop, then reopened it, tiny violence, reversible. I want you to stop playing with fire and calling it therapy. I could have begged. Instead, I made a choice. You're right, I said. The room stilled. I did rewrite the story, because the original read like a contract I didn't sign. I pointed at the folder. You gathered my sins neatly. Now add yours. He blinked. I pressed on. Dinners canceled without notice. Weekends for clients that ended with invoices and silence. You built a life where you win by withholding. I learned to speak in leverage because conversation failed. My voice didn't shake. That scared me. He breathed out slow. There is something you don't know, he said. He turned the screen to me. New photos. Nate in a hospital waiting room months ago. head in hands, time-stamped nights I'd counted as betrayals. Beside him, his sister Mira, pale, wrapped in a blanket. "She relapsed," he said simply. "Detox." I kept it quiet because she asked me to. The perfume? A nurse hugged me when she finally slept. He swallowed. I hated hiding it. I hated that telling you would mean telling everyone you hold dear. Because secrets don't stop with you, Nora. They travel. My certainty cracked like sugar under a spoon. He hadn't been blameless. There were texts too friendly, drinks too late. But this truth shifted the floor. My revenge tilted toward me. I imagined Leo in the lobby, scrubbing at his mouth, a man who'd been someone's chess piece and mine. I imagined our families opening that email, learning we were a headline. My carefully stacked indignations fell, loud and stupid. "What now?" I asked. The question felt like lint, too small after the fire. "Now we decide whether the game ends," he said. "Not with an audience. With a choice." He deleted the draft. A small act, real as gravity. "You wanted a confession. Here's mine. I used your lover to corner you because I was afraid you'd never stop unless something stopped you. That was cruel. I am not proud." I stepped closer. The air grew warm, dangerous with possibility. Our closeness deepened without touch. Memories crowded the space. First apartment pain on our hands. The night the lights went out and we told stories in the dark. Laughter that didn't need a verdict. "I won't apologize for wanting honesty," I said. "But I will apologize for choosing spectacle." The red on my mouth had faded to a stubborn outline. I pressed a tissue to it. White turned pink. Nate watched. "Rule number 1, he said quietly. "No audience." "Rule number 2, I answered. "No trophies." He nodded. For a breath, peace hovered like a skittish bird. Then his phone chimed. One message, unknown number. A single photo, me and Leo at the bar, closer than the security cam ever saw. The angle was intimate. The sender's line read, "Consider this leverage." Nate's eyes lifted to mine. My pulse quickened. We hadn't ended the game. We'd only renamed it. "Who else knew?" he asked. I thought of the camera, the bartender with 2 interested eyes, the neighbor who loved gossip more than gardening. "I don't know," I said, truth burning clean for once. He set the phone down. "Then we learn together," he said, "or we fall apart separately." I breathed in. Red lipstick is meant to be bold. Sometimes that means staying. Sometimes it means walking away with a clean mouth. I folded the tissue. Evidence turned lesson and met his gaze. "Together," I said. "For now." Because the next message had already been sent, and I didn't know who would open it first.